Brilliance Audio presents A Man by Keiichiro Hirano. Translated by Eli K.P. William. Performed by Brian Nishi. The protagonist of this story is someone that I have been fondly calling Kido-san. You may be wondering where the fondness comes in, as using a family name with the addition of san isn't always the warmest way to address someone, but I think you will soon understand why I hesitate to call him anything else. I first met Kido-san on my way back from a talk at a bookstore. My head was buzzing after having spoken continuously for 2.5 hours, and wanting to settle down somewhat before returning home, I had stopped in at a certain drinking establishment that I happened to stumble upon. Kido-san was drinking alone at the bar. At first I listened vaguely as he chatted with the bartender, but at some juncture I couldn't help but laugh and found myself joining the conversation. The initial introduction he gave me, his name, his background, I would soon learn was all lies. But as I had no reason to doubt him then, I believed every word. Wearing square, black-rimmed glasses, the man wasn't what you would call strikingly handsome, but his face had a certain air of sophistication that went well with a dim bar. I thought to myself that if I had looks like his, I might remain attractive well into middle age, even if I were to develop a few more wrinkles and gray hairs. But when I told him so, he merely cocked his head to the side with an expression of disbelief and said, "No, not at all." I told him I was a novelist. He hadn't heard of me and seemed embarrassed by that fact, which made me ashamed in turn, an all too common occurrence. But he had a profound interest in my profession, and after interrogating me about various details, something like admiration suddenly filled his face, and he said, "I'm sorry." I frowned, unsure why he was apologizing, when he told me that his real name was Akira Kido, thereby admitting that the name he had just told me was a false one. He then asked that I keep this secret from the bartender and went on to explain that he was a lawyer, born in the same year that I was, 1975. Having once been a, shall we say, less than studious law school student, I often feel self-conscious when faced with a bona fide legal expert. But after his confession, I felt no such drop in stature, as the personal history he had until then claimed as his own had been unfortunate enough to arouse my sympathy. His behavior struck me as tasteless, and I asked him what he was doing telling such lies. This left him searching for words with a pensive frown. "I keep myself together by living other people's pain," he said eventually with an indescribably lonesome smile. "It's like the expression, 'The man who goes mummy hunting ends up a mummy himself.' Do you understand what it's like to be honest through lies? I mean, of course, just for brief stints at places like this. Somehow, I can't seem to let go of myself entirely. What I truly want is to think directly about myself, but that just makes me sick. It's the one thing I can't help. I've done everything I can, and I believe that soon enough my need to act like this will pass. I never would have guessed things would turn out like this." I was put off by his intentionally mysterious way of speaking, but found the content of what he had told me fascinating. Moreover, I could not deny my budding affection for the man. "But to you," Kido-san continued, "I will tell the truth from now on.